I don't think I would be breaking any new ground by saying that YouTube has vastly changed over the years since it was graced since it was birthed to us from the heavens. I think what YouTube was then versus what it is now. Back then, YouTube was much more of a meritocracy, and the way that I wanted to try to convey what I think it was is there's the album cover of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which is a light coming into a triangle and then light coming out. So to me, to illustrate my point of what YouTube was, I think the light going in is, for the first time in human history, anyone that wanted to make something and distribute it, they could. The triangle itself being YouTube, and then the light coming out of it being the people that it can reach and the kinds of content that can be made. But now what I think has happened is, first of all, the triangle has grown exponentially and the shape of it has vastly changed. So now it's kind of like only now the top of the triangle refracts light, if that makes sense, because as you may well have noticed, is it's very much so the bigger YouTubers that got big X amount of years ago are kind of the only staples in YouTube. However, you know, a few years ago you could upload once a week or once a month even, and the algorithm worked for you at that point. You could still gain subscribers and people could find your things. But now the current divide of YouTube, I think, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of shit at the bottom of YouTube. Like, it's not, I'm not looking at it with rose tinted glasses. A lot of it is not good, but what should be a middle ground that used to be a middle ground is kind of not even a middle ground, really. I guess it's just like society, isn't it, really? There's a 1% that has everything and everybody else is just left there. Because I don't know if you notice this, but a lot of good stuff gets made and you just don't, well, I guess you don't notice it because you don't see it, but it's so hard to find. The only way that I really find channels as of recent is by seeing people in comments, and a lot of the time what am I saying here? At first I thought the divide was that that's simply what people wanted to see. They wanted to watch these challenge videos or top 10s or just very easy content to consume and nothing challenging. You know, you turn up, you watch something, you go do whatever you were doing. You just carry on with your day, you know. I don't know what you do. Probably, I don't know. But then Fran made a playlist of smaller YouTubers, and a lot of them have benefited isn't the correct word because it makes it seem like it's a numerical thing, like, oh, your numbers have went up. People seem to have connected with these people. What they're saying has resonated with them, and I would imagine for a lot of the people that are finding these new smaller YouTubers, like, they didn't even know that they were there. And the thing is, there's oceans of people that make things that are so good and you'll simply never see them. And that's just upsetting. People want to see different and they're not being shown different. They're being shown TV highlights and BuzzFeed videos. Oh, let me show you how relatable this corporation is that just wants nothing but your ad revenue. That awkward moment when you and your friend say goodbye and you walk in the same direction. Oh, literally me. I thought that one of the points of media is to see what another person's experience of life is. That's why people watch films or listen to music. Well, not the sole reason, but one of the reasons. So why would you want to watch something that just simply reinforces who you are? Okay, I'm going off on a tangent. It's not like this is even new. I've done somewhat of a response like this before. When Chris, I think about a year ago, made a video where he felt disillusioned with YouTube also, and I made a response then. Jack's made a video now, and this isn't a direct response because I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while. I guess it's prompted by, like, it's just gonna, ultimately I think it is down to the algorithm or YouTube's functionality, because it's simply put, it doesn't care about creators, because when you can make so much more money on a video that gets like 250 million views, like if it's a music video, for example, compared to even some of the biggest YouTubers don't get views like that or won't ever come close with all of their videos combined. So I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of the very thing that YouTube was rooted in. Like this, it literally was YouTube broadcast yourself, and it's not really anymore. It's not really for creators anymore. It's well and truly stripped the community aspect, and I think you could see that from the time it started removing video responses, for example. The all activity tab has been removed, which I don't. Fran said in her video there was no need whatsoever to do that, and there wasn't. It makes no fucking sense. You're just limiting what I can find. I don't want to insert the fucking glacier analogy. Oh, okay, like you see the top and then there's a whole ocean underneath, whatever. It's like, I want to see different stuff. Like, stop treating me like I'm a fucking idiot that scrolls through Facebook and just watches anything, because that's the model that YouTube seems to be on. Watch this shit or don't watch anything at all. And I don't know much about business. However, I've heard the term micro-marketing, cool, thrown around, which is essentially you start. I'm saying from an advertising point of view, YouTube would benefit from picking little other groups, like smaller pockets. So to get rid of that altogether, isn't that removing one of the ways of them making money? It seems like it would be mutually beneficial for them and creators and viewers that actually want to find the stuff to have just a different interface for people to use if they want it, because there are some people that simply use YouTube for music videos or like how-tos, but then there are people that actually engage in the community, and I think for those people, stripping YouTube of that, it takes away the thing that made YouTube great in the first place, because I doubt YouTube was necessarily revolutionary in that it was one of the first platforms that hosted video. I guess what I'm saying is, if people want to retain this more community aspect of YouTube, like, you shouldn't have to do this. I've seen like multiple like Twitter pages, or there are Facebook pages dedicated to either finding creators or linking creators together so they can find one another. And before that wasn't necessary. You could easily find different people. There shouldn't have to be this third-party intervention to do these things, because YouTube's capable. It's run by fucking Google. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, I guess I didn't want. This is essentially a fucking. Well, okay, so this video is split into two halves. I guess I've just done the first half, that being a rant/commentary on the climate of YouTube, and it's probably. I'm sure there are. It's jump cut city. It's a bad time. If this is the first video you're watching, like, they're not always this like disgusting. Like, my face is still in it, but like, once you get over that, it's not that bad, trust me. Just okay. The second part of this video, because I saw a separate discussion pertaining to whether small creators should be in the upcoming Becoming YouTube documentary. Becoming YouTube 2 is the more simpler way of saying it. Why would you fucking fall like that, you piece of shit? Okay, cool. So I saw some smaller creators arguing to Ben, who, if you don't know, Ben is known on YouTube as the director and creator of Becoming YouTube. So, I actually have noted down things. I'm a fan of Ben, as you can see by me paying homage to him in my very first video that I wouldn't recommend watching, but he was one of the motivators for me starting a channel. However, you could say that it's in my best interest to argue that small creators should be featured in Becoming YouTube, but I want this to be more of a balanced argument, so that's why I've assembled a list. I'm going to regurgitate that to you. So, first of all, I'm going to argue why small creators shouldn't be in Becoming YouTube, and then I'm going to move on to why small creators should be considered for upcoming YouTube. So, my first reason as to why small creators shouldn't be considered for Becoming YouTube is that well, it's being exemplified by me making this video as a response video, which is that big YouTubers make waves and small YouTubers surf in them. And by that I mean, for the most part, the bigger YouTubers don't necessarily dictate, but they guide where YouTube is going and how it's perceived, because they're kind of the figureheads. So I guess what I'm saying in conclusion to this point is that why would you interview an underground rapper when Kanye West is standing right there? Kanye West may not be the best. Wow. Kanye West may not be the best rapper. Apparently. Fucking new album, piece of... It's not, it's alright. It's actually pretty good. Okay. Rap would be more so defined by Kanye's opinions as opposed to somebody that practices in his garage. I don't know. However, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better, because I guess when it comes to the film industry, Transformers is always going to make more money than, say, Birdman, but that doesn't make Transformers inherently better because more people want to see it, if that makes sense. Yeah, you following me. You better not be following me in real life, because I'll get a restraining order. Not really, I'm very lonely. I'll take any company that I can get, honestly. Another problem with featuring small YouTubers in Becoming YouTube is that you would have an incredibly tough time deciding who to pick, because big YouTubers are distinguished in the fact that they have large numbers, and many of them having fandoms, they have a public image, whereas small creators don't as much. I'm not saying that their opinions are any less, it's just, I guess people can't pin things to, oh no, you know what I mean. Like, I'm not saying that small YouTubers can't have opinions, obviously. And then two smaller, not quite points, but things I think should be taken into consideration, because I saw one person say, as like a definitive thing, that small YouTubers make better content and they're more creative. Sometimes, not always. Some of them do make shit. All right, don't front. Some of them make bad things. So you take off the rose-tinted glasses. And then secondly, if small YouTubers do want to be featured in Becoming YouTube, what's the agenda there? Because from what I gather, small YouTubers have a patriotism towards, they're proud to be a small YouTuber, so arguably being featured in Becoming YouTube would give them more exposure, and that would be contradictory in what they say that they want in an audience. If that makes sense. Please make sense, senpai, please. And now here's why small YouTubers should be considered for Becoming YouTube. So I'll start off by saying that in October I interviewed Tom Scott, and one of the questions that I asked him was, how does being kind of idolized by many people change the way that you interact with them? And he said, one of the answers that he gave was along the lines of, to an extent he feels like he has to perform, because they see him, I guess because they see him as this kind of larger than life person, and he doesn't want to disappoint them. And Ben was looking for ways in which small YouTubers' opinions differ or can offer like an alternative insight to bigger YouTubers. So one way in which that would happen is that, so for example, I see many small creators, they often respond to far more comments than big YouTubers do. I, in fact, probably reply to most, if not all, of the comments. So that would provide a nice contrast with YouTubers that can do things like retweet for a DM and things of that nature, because it shows a different power dynamic between viewer and creator. So smaller YouTubers may not be seen as intimidating may not be the correct word, but as bigger kind of thing. And then secondly, in terms of perception as a whole, sometimes when a smaller creator will comment on a larger creator's video, they may be seen more so as a commenter that also makes videos, whereas a YouTuber commenting on a big YouTuber commenting on a big YouTuber's video will be seen as such a YouTuber with another YouTuber. So I guess in terms of just how they're perceived by other people, so to round that point, how they're perceived and how they interact with their fans, they differ. So we've got retweet for a DM kind of interactions, and then we've got, well, replying to most, if not all, of the comments interactions. That makes sense? Please? Cool. Second point as to why small creators should be considered for becoming YouTube too is because I presume that becoming YouTube will deal far heavily with race and gender and things of that nature, different kind of minority denominations. So one thing that can be called into question is how that affects your channel growth and relatability. So in the original Becoming YouTube, a lot of the interviewees fell into the category of straight white male. Not all of them, but you know, Dan, Phil, PJ, Tom Scar, Alfie was in there, Marcus, cameos, things, who are Alex Day, that turned out great, Charlie, the Vlog Brothers, but then alternatively not many people differed, so there were females like Hazel and Emma Blackery, Carrie, who else? I know there's more, I just can't think of them, but I guess, you know, the point. I think a lot of people would see the default YouTuber as, you know, the middle class white male. So I think if you fall into a race or gender or sexuality that is typically seen as other, something that you could talk about is how that either hinders a channel or can kind of jumpstart it, because there are definitely people that kind of use that to their advantage and make content. Make content, you know, for those people that, I'm not saying that their race has to define them, but it definitely has an influence. So a lot of, you know, so for example, you can't be a YouTuber that also happens to be black. You're a black YouTuber, or you're not a YouTuber that happens to be female. You're a female YouTuber. Whereas if you're, you know, the default kind of straight white male, you have more of a freedom. You're seen more as the default. And Fran made a point that supposedly, I don't know this as much, but female YouTubers aren't allowed as much to kind of dabble in different, so they can't be like funny, or it's better if she, but essentially people prefer them in their little box, whereas I guess people that aren't seen as other have the freedom to do whatever they want. Okay, and then a question that Ben asked was, what are some of the biggest problems that smaller creators have? One of those, I guess, that you could talk about is how the YouTube system supports them or lack thereof. So when I was talking about like the top of the pyramid kind of thing, you know, you've got featured channels, so to speak, you've got trending and whatever. So, but in terms of if you don't have a fan base there already, you don't really get support. Maybe you'll come up in someone's recommended videos, but it's not going to be like, I'm gonna be honest, I've been watching YouTube videos for at least 5-6 years. You know, I know who Zoella is. I don't think I'm gonna subscribe to her anytime soon. Like, I would have done that by now. Stop fucking recommending me shit that fucking show me something different, please. Like, I don't wanna. I'm sure she makes great things. It's not an attack on her. I'm just saying, like, show me something different. Just show me something different. Oh, this is the ASMR part of the video. Oh yeah, like that one. Yeah, so essentially small creators don't have the luxury of the algorithm working in their favour. And then a question that would provide a nice contrast is, what are the reasons why you actually create videos in the first place? So they may be a bit reluctant to say, but often a lot of YouTubers simply make videos because it's their source of income, it's their livelihood, whereas I'm not saying this is always the case, but you could make the argument that smaller creators are more passionate or make videos for the right reasons, because they don't have, they make what they want. Small creators still want exposure, obviously, but I guess relevance and maintaining their income isn't as much on the agenda as it is for bigger YouTubers that rely on it. So that would provide a nice contrast. Just what are the reasons for why you make videos? If there's a segment, that'll work, obviously. And then another question that could be raised is, how does the size of your channel inform what kind of videos that you make? So a lot of YouTubers I saw got big making more creative videos and creative, like sketches and things that actually took effort. They didn't fucking shot them out in a fucking sitting, which I'm not saying is bad. Like, some of my favorite videos are just fucking people talking and me getting to be in on the banter. But you know, and now I can't say that people have a monopoly, so to speak, this on this kind of content. However, you know, you can pretty much guarantee any day at a set time. Trying Japanese, I don't know. I don't know what they do anymore. I don't watch it. It hurts me. It upsets me on a spiritual level, emotional level. Also, yes, big YouTubers were small ones. However, they were small in a different environment. So one that promoted their channel's growth as opposed to stagnates it. Like, you have to work incredibly, incredibly hard just to... Things that would have been much easier back then are tremendous feats now. Like, Casey Neistat uploads a video that's near enough like fucking flawless every single day, and he's the only one that I've seen really that has broken YouTube. That and all the fucking prankster videos, but no one cares about them. They're the mullet of YouTuber. They're a lot of the bigger YouTubers got big in what I've heard referred to as the golden age, the peak of YouTube creative videos. And what, you know, Hank said in the first Becoming YouTube, to paraphrase, like, getting big on YouTube now, like breaking YouTube, is near enough impossible. So if one of the points of Becoming YouTube is to document the changes in YouTube as a platform, that would be a cool thing to talk about, because you could contrast what it was like for big YouTubers back then with small creators now. For example, Charlie Is So Cool, like, kind of took off after he was featured on the YouTube homepage. However, small creators now, I don't think would ever dream that that's even a possibility, because again, TV highlights, movie trailers, it's just not doable. However, in conclusion, if you go to a festival, chances are you're going for the headliners. You know, you have the big name, and then it goes smaller and smaller font as it goes down. Like, of course, there are going to be some people that go for the people nearer to the bottom. However, for the most part, people go for staples to the genre, or in this case, when it comes to YouTube, people that have large fan bases. However, I just think that smaller YouTubers would provide a good contrast in attitudes towards audience interaction, why they do what they do, how YouTube encourages them to create content or discourages them. So yeah, small YouTubers aren't necessary for the success of Becoming YouTube. However, I think they would be grateful, and hopefully it would promote people celebrating small YouTubers, because that's one thing I think I left out. Like, all of this is incredibly intertwined. The divide between big YouTuber, small YouTuber, the stagnation of YouTube, why we're having these problems. Jack said that he feels disenfranchised as a viewer. He'll make things, that's fine, but he only watches like his friends' videos, and I don't think that's because YouTube doesn't have what interests him, so to speak. It's just that he can't find it. Again, there's oceans of content that you just won't find unless, I guess, like, you share it and stuff. I don't know if I said this already, but to retain what semblance of community that we have left, it shouldn't have to be this way. People shouldn't have to do more things than YouTube is perfectly capable. I fluctuate so often between not caring about YouTube at all and it being the most important thing to me. And I don't know, man. I don't think this is the only way that it has to be. It can be better. It has been better. It's perfectly. I don't know what it takes. Like, people have been asking for these features for so long. It can only make the platform better. Let's be honest, no one's switching to Vimeo anytime soon. You're not? Don't front. Oh, I like short films. Okay, maybe you'll prefer Vimeo, but like what I'm saying is,